Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Connected Women Win. We have been on an amazing journey of highlighting authors, and I thought it was appropriate this year to not just highlight authors that we don't know or to do, references of books we don't know. I thought it'd be very appropriate to reach out to people that I've had some contact with, that I've met either through their work, either through them being a client, or through their just awesomeness. And our guest today represents all of that. Tracy McCauley is someone that I met literally through social media. And I have watched her growth. I have watched her journey. I have watched how she has taken her dreams, her purpose, and literally extended her arm to other women and said, you know what? I want to be a source of hope and healing. So I introduce to you today Tracy McCauley. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, thank you for this opportunity. I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you.
I'm honored that you said yes. And Tracy, I want to really just share you with the world today and help people to know who you are and to understand the work that you are doing, as well as your book project. And I should say projects because you were just beginning. But first of all, tell people, who is Tracy McCauley?
Yes, well, I am a self-love coach. I'm also a wife. I am a mother, a grandmother. I am a woman that's passionate about helping other women. I am a motivational speaker. Uh, and I just love women, helping women, motivating them, helping women to learn how to embrace every part of the woman that they were created to be.
That's awesome. And a lot of times when I'm hearing people like you, Tracy, I'm hearing your passion. And a lot of times I also know that there's a story behind the story. When did you know that this was your purpose?
Well, whenever I um, got out of my abusive relationship, I had been in a couple abusive relationships for a
Mhm.
course of 1 years, and I experienced physical, emotional, psychological abuse for so many years. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until I actually got out of the abusive relationship and God sent me my husband, that's when I discovered that I had been in an abusive relationship, because for years I didn't really know. I just thought that it was a relationship that all relationships go through. Didn't
Mhm.
really recognize that I had been in an abusive relationship. But whenever my husband found me, that's when I discovered all of that. And I was on a mission to learn how to love me. I was on a
Yeah.
mission to learn how to embrace every part of the woman that God created me to be. It was
Yeah.
through my husband loving me and
Yeah.
treating me like a queen. And I saw that in him, I saw God in him.
Wow.
And that made me have a desire, have a passion to really, really get to know God more and understand that I was created uniquely and that it was part of my duty to love who God had me to be.
That's powerful. You said so many things. I want to unpackage a little what you talked about, and you talked about being in abusive relationships. And for those, I don't want to assume that everyone understands what that is. Tracy, can you clarify what are some signs or symptoms of abusive relationships?
Yeah, some signs are, if you're in a relationship with somebody that's talking down to you,
Hmm.
someone that doesn't respect you for who you are,
Yeah.
someone that isolates you from family, from friends, someone that tries to dictate what you do and where you go and try to dictate your money. Those are some signs.
Yeah.
Of course, the physical abuse. If someone is beating you and um, being abusive to where, they're leaving marks on you,
Hmm.
those are physical signs. The
Yeah.
emotional signs are put downs.
Yeah.
calling you out your name, saying those hurtful things. Psychological abuse consists of threats, intimidation, again, that isolation. Those are all signs of abuse. And
Yeah.
love is not abuse. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you're so right. Healthy love is not abuse, and I think so many times from the outside in, as a society, we can look and say, "Well, just leave," and that's not always as easy, is it, Tracy?
No, it's not. And that's one of the things that makes it so frustrating
Mm-hmm.
whenever we hear those things, just leave, you don't have to put up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may be easy for people to say that, but
Mhm.
it's extremely dangerous and it's
Yeah.
extremely hard for women
Yeah.
to walk away from abusive relationships because I know, from society that the most dangerous time for women is whenever they do make the decision to leave. I had
Yeah.
a situation with my first abusive relationship where that it was dangerous, and because what happened was whenever I made the decision to walk away from that relationship, my abuser, he tried to kill me. He
Mm.
came over to the place I was at with the gun. And
Wow.
so it's so dangerous for women whenever we say those things like leave. It's important
Mhm.
for women to have a safety plan if they do make the decision, and it's their decision to
Sure.
leave the relationship whenever they're ready. But it's
Hmm.
so important for them to have a safety plan in place so
Yeah.
that they can live safely.
Yeah. And from that first relationship that you described for yourself, what was it that finally clicked on the inside of you that you knew that you could leave? Even after, I understand, I heard you say there was some stuff that happened on the other side of you leaving, but what was it that triggered you saying, you know what, this is it, I have to go?
I think it was just I had gotten just sick and tired
Hmm.
of being in that relationship. I had a child as
Yeah.
a result, and things were changing. Even though I had a child, I thought things would change, and they
Right.
actually got worse.
Hmm.
And so I had gotten to the point where I was just tired
Hmm.
of being in the unhealthy situation, being abused, and I just desired more. I didn't know
Yeah.
what that more was at the
Yeah.
time. I just knew that things were not going to get better in that situation, and I made the decision to exit.
Yeah, yeah. So you exit from the situation, and I heard you say there were some things on the other side of that, but you finally were able to break free from that first abusive relationship. And then did I hear you say that you ended up in another one?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And because I didn't give myself time to heal,
Gotcha.
I was still looking for love in all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't share this earlier, but one of the things about my upbringing, I didn't have my father in my in my life as I was growing up, and so as a result, I felt abandoned. I felt rejected by my father. I didn't think he loved me, and so I didn't really love myself. I didn't understand who I was, and so I didn't give myself time to heal, before I got into another abusive relationship. Again, I was looking for love in all the wrong places. I was trying to find, someone to really love me and to really treat me with respect. And so I found myself in a second abusive relationship, and I experienced a lot of the same things. Um, I didn't have a child with this individual, but I stayed and I put my daughter through being in that unhealthy environment as well. And so I wanted more from my daughter. I had stayed in that relationship for 14 years, and
Mm-hmm.
I had got to the place where I wanted more from my daughter. I
Yeah.
wanted my daughter to see what a healthy relationship looked like, and I was was introduced to this church and
Mm-hmm.
started going to this church, and I started hearing about God. I had already been introduced to God years ago by my grandmother, but I didn't really have a relationship. I knew about him, but I didn't
Mm,
know of him. And
right.
so whenever I was introduced to this church and started going to this church, it really, really was at a place in my life where I was like, something has got to give. This is something has got to give. What is going on here? And really, really started to just listen to the word and develop a more intimate relationship with God. And it was through God's power, God's strength, that I was able to get out of the second abusive relationship. And so that's when, after I got out of that relationship, is when God sent me my husband. So,
Okay. That's really powerful. So through the power of God's healing and you being you basically separating yourself from that second abusive relationship, what were some of the practical things that you had to do that you feel like maybe attracted your new husband to you?
mhm. And the thing about it is, I was still getting to know myself.
Sure.
So I was still going through a process of change, a process of
Hmm.
healing whenever my
Hmm.
husband found me. And
Hmm.
so I think, and it was extremely hard. I don't want to make it sound like it was an easy thing,
Oh
because
yeah.
even when my husband found me, I was tempted to go back because it was familiar to me. I
Mm.
knew about being in this relationship that was unhealthy, abusive, and it was scary to think about going to something new.
Hmm.
But I I felt like I had to at least give it a try,
Yeah.
because in my mind I was like, okay, I know something else. I'm just praying something else is going to be way better than what I have been getting. And
Hmm.
again, I just trusted God, and
Yeah.
I allowed myself to really, really listen to God's direction in that moment.
Hmm.
And I just started really, really leaning in more to God. And
Yeah.
so I allowed myself to go into this healthy relationship. And even with that, I my husband loved me and it was great, and we got married after 3 years, but I still had to do the work, cuz that's when I discovered that I had to do the work on myself. Yes,
Yeah.
I was in a wonderful marriage. My husband loved me, treated me like a queen, but I still had a lot of healing to do. And
Hmm.
so that's when I discovered that I had to work on me. And from there, I really, really, really started to trust God more. I really started to develop a more intimate relationship with God, so God could help me learn how to love me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you what I heard you say, Tracy, is you leaned into God, you trusted God more. For someone who might be watching this, then let's say they are a non-believer or they are a baby Christian, maybe they are just in the beginning stages of this. And maybe when they hear those words, just lean into God and trust God, maybe it's kind of like overwhelming for them. Can you unpackage for them when you say lean into God, like what does that mean for those that maybe that's overwhelming to them or foreign to them?
Yes, absolutely. That's leaning in to me. And of course,
Mhm.
it's differently for everybody.
Sure,
It's,
sure.
yeah, I started going to church. I
Okay.
started praying more. I
Mhm.
started surrounding myself with people that could encourage me, could motivate me, people that I could talk to that could help me learn more about God. I started reading the word, really, really understanding for myself what what God said about me, and really, really just again just trusting his word and just praying, because it really was, um a minute by minute
Yeah.
hour by hour type of healing process that I
Yeah.
really had to go through to really get to that place where I really loved me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
surrounding yourself with people and being a part of that crowd that can really support you and then just encourage you and let you know that God loves you and that God
Yeah.
has a wonderful, wonderful plan, that God's desire for you is that you live in freedom, hope, and
Hmm.
love.
Yeah. And so, what was the hardest part about learning to trust God and learning to love yourself? What was the hardest part of that process for you?
The hardest part of learning to love God and trust myself,
How to trust God and
trust
love
God,
yourself.
love myself. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, oh, that's a good one. The hardest part I think was just um being able to believe that I was worthy.
That's
Really
good.
being able to believe because for
Mhm.
so many years I didn't love myself and I didn't think I was worthy and I didn't think that I was lovable. And so
Mm.
really in what the word of God said and really getting that and having those little posts, which one is one of the things that I would do.
Mhm.
Sticky, put it on the sticky note, post it on my mirror somewhere where I could see it every day that
Mhm.
I'm wonderfully made, that I am
Yeah.
God's masterpiece. Saying those things that I'm created in the image of God,
Yeah.
really hearing those things, reading it, hearing it, and really trusting and believing that I am worthy, that I'm worthy of everything that God has for me.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the thing.
That's good. That's good. Because what it boiled down to was your belief system. What
Yes,
you believed about God and what you believed about yourself. Is that right?
that's it. That's exactly right.
And would you say, Tracy, that once you align those two things, then it was, I'm not going to use the word easy because we all know that's, but it made it more attainable for you
Mhm.
to now receive love from this healthy, in a healthy way from this new man. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that
Yeah.
belief system had to change. Those
Hmm.
core beliefs, because they were negative for so
Yeah.
long. And so I had to
Yeah.
that whole thought process, so that I could, even if it was something that I had experienced, no, I'm
Hmm.
going to change this belief because if I heard that I'm stupid or that I'm ugly, then no, I'm going to change that around and say that I'm smart and that I'm beautiful because I know that's what the word of God says about me. So really changing that thought process because according to research, on average, we as individuals get anywhere between 6,000 or more thoughts every single day. And the
Hmm.
majority of those thoughts are negative thoughts.
Yeah.
So we have to be saying something. We have to be speaking out loud some
Yeah.
positive thoughts because those negative thoughts are going to come whether we want them to or not. So changing
That's
that thought process to saying positive things, using I ams. That's another big thing that I do even now. I
hmm
am beautiful. I
Yeah.
am smart. I am valuable. Making a regimen, a daily regimen of saying those positive um, things, those positive affirmations will help boost your self esteem and help you really learn to love every part of the woman that you were created to be.
Come on, Tracy. That's some good stuff right there. And here, what you're doing is you're empowering people to say you have a choice in
Yes,
this. At
yes.
every point of this journey, you have a choice. And one of the things that I believe truly about purpose is that when we have overcome something, that we also now have the responsibility to pay it forward to others.
Yeah.
And Tracy,
Mhm.
one of the things that I love about you is that you took this whole life experience and you turned it around and you said, not only am I going to be okay, now I'm going to make sure that other women who were in the same predicament, they're going to be okay. And one of the things that I heard from you is that you wrote a book.
Yes, 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 I did. I
So
did.
tell us, why was it crucial for you to write a book, and tell us what the name of the book is?
Well, the name of the book is Love Thyself. And I tell you, it was my baby. It was actually part of my healing process. And
Mm,
so I wanted to write the book because after I discovered that I had been in this abusive relationship, I wanted to do something. I wanted to use my voice. I wanted to use something. I wanted to use the book as a way to share my story so that it could help other, because I wanted them to know that love is not abuse. I wanted them to hear my story. And as a result of hearing my story, the
mm,
things that I experienced, I wanted women all over the world to be empowered and to learn how to embrace themselves and to know that they're valuable and to know that they matter. So
mhm.
I, it took me 7 years to be exact to write the book, because again, the writing the book was part of my healing process. And
Mhm.
so there's some chapters in my book that really had me thinking a lot. And
Mhm.
so it took me some time to really, really pour out the things that I would say and allow God to use me, because it was some things that I put in the book that I was like, ah, are you serious, God? And he's like, yeah, yeah, yes. You need that because somebody needs to hear it. And so I'm super excited about, the book, and I know that it's going to bless the lives of women all over.
Yes, yes. And you have a workbook, and you've also done some courses around it too, right?
Yes, yes. I have a journal. It's called Love You, Embrace You Journal. And
Mhm.
it was created as a result to help women with those I am statements. I'm super excited about it as well. It's a
Mhm.
30-day journal. And what it is, I love quotes, and quotes is another thing that really helped me boost my self-esteem. And so in the journal, there's quotes on each page, and there's also I am that
Yeah,
actually gives you an opportunity to start out your I am statement. It gives you some space for you to write down your emotions, your feelings, and it hopefully help you develop a positive regimen of saying those positive affirmations on a daily basis. So
yeah.
yes,
That's good. That's good. And I love the fact that you didn't just write this just because, oh yeah, this sounds like a good thing. You wrote it because you said this is what helped me. This is one of the things that God put on your heart to use as a tool to help you, right?
yes, yep, it absolutely it is. It was.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I used that as a way to help me get to the place where I needed to be so that I could help other women. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something really special about when somebody can take their story from once they've healed from it, can take their story and now say, I want to bless other people, I want to help other people. It's almost like you get it more than most because you've lived it. You know,
Right.
it's so special because you have empathy for women who've been in abusive situations versus someone who's just writing to be writing or
Right.
doing courses or speaking just to be doing them. You're saying, you know what, y'all, I overcame, you can too. Tracy,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
Yes, thank you. It really is. It does. It just helps you. It gives people hope, is what it is. It gives them hope, because if they can look at you and say, yes, she experienced that, I'm experiencing that. It gives them hope, and it helps encourage them and lets
Yeah,
them know, yes, that she done it, and look at her now. So I
that's
can do
right.
the same.
That's
So
right.
yeah.
not being selfish with your story.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what all, okay, so now you've written the book, you've got the workbook, you've developed the course. Tell us about the course.
Oh, yes, I'm super excited about the course. I
Mhm.
actually had my first master class. It's called You Are Uniquely Created Master Class last month. Yeah. And
Mhm.
so as a result of that course, I was so excited about it. I developed a course around that master class as well. So I am super, super excited about it. I'm going to be posting that on my website soon, but
Okay.
just again just knowing that I could say something, I can create that can bless other women, that can help them with any struggle that they may be going through, because I have several other struggles, strongholds that I experience that I write about in my book as well. And so and I share that in my master class in this course. And so I'm just super excited about, just creating things and using my voice to help empower others.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of this journey being on this side of it, Tracy, knowing that you were going to be sharing and in some sense exposing yourself? What was the hardest part of that process?
Yeah, because even right before I published the first book, I was like, I was a little nervous about it because
Yeah.
I was like, is this happening? Now I'm really sharing my life, my experience with the world. And so
Yeah.
it was a little scary, I will admit. It was a little scary in the beginning, but I know it was something that God put on my heart. I
Yeah.
know it was something every chapter it was something that guided me. And so God reassured me that it was okay. Even though I
Mhm.
was a little nervous about it in the beginning, it was like he said, it's going to be okay, because this is part of your purpose. This is
Mhm.
what I created you for, so that you could bless others with the experiences that you've had. You went
Yeah.
through this. It wasn't for you. The
Right.
experiences that you've experienced, it was not for you. It was for
Yeah.
somebody else, so that they can be blessed by what
Yeah.
you know, come over.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And you said here he reassured you. How did you feel, or how did you know that was God's reassurance? Like, did you feel peace? Like, how did you know?
yeah, it was like a inner peace. It was like, it was like, it's gonna be okay. This
Yeah.
is everything is gonna be good, because you have done what I've asked you to do. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like an inner peace. It was like a calmness. It was like, it's okay. Feeling
Yeah.
of it's okay.
Yeah. Tracy, if you were to go back and talk to that version of you who was in the relationships and tell that woman anything right now, what would you tell her?
God's got you.
Mm,
God's got you. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's painful. But
mm,
God hasn't forgotten about you.
mm,
God loves you. You are
mm,
valuable. You are worthy. You're not a mistake.
mm,
You're not stupid. God has a great plan for your
mm,
life.
yeah.
Just be strong, because God, He has you, and He's going to
Mm.
take care of you.
So, so good. And Tracy, you never know, as people are watching this interview in the days, weeks, months, and maybe even years to come, how just those words can just be the hope and the anchor that another woman needs to hear. So, again, I say to you, my sister, thank you for not being selfish with your gifts. And I just pray that you are reminded every single day why you were the one who had to go on this journey and pay it forward to others. And may you never forget just how much God has you.
Mm. Yes, thank you. Mm.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, Tracy, tell people how can they connect with you and where can they find your book, your workbook, and your courses?
Sure. So they can visit my website, posted. It's Tracy W. My books are available. Both of them are available on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com as well.
Mhm.
I would love for you guys to follow me on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook, Tracy W. McCauley. LinkedIn as well. It's the same. It's Tracy W. McCauley on LinkedIn. Instagram is TW McCauley 2010. So I would love for you guys to follow me, to connect with me. You can go to my website and you can find all the information you want about me. If you want to, I speak, I do motivational speaking. I would love to come and speak for your organization, women's group. Well, I know we're not going in person now, but virtual, if you have any virtual conferences or anything like that, just reach out to me either on Facebook or you can go to my website and find that information. So I would love to hear from you. I also have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
You can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. So yes,
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Tracy, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much again for your time today and sharing your story as well as your resources. And y'all, her website is right here on the screen and follow her because I have a feeling this is just the beginning for Tracy. Thank you.
thank you.